So it's Wednesday night, which is my Shadows of Brimstone night, at least for the time being. So the Saloon Girl and the Marshal are out of the temple, heading to town, try and recover. They've got some wounds, they've got a mutation, this sucking chest open portal thing. I may keep that just to see how it plays. But the first thing they have to figure out is what kind of town, what size town they're going to. So let's see. Oh, they're going to a large town, so that will be a nice change. Alright, so the good news is they're going to a large town, which I have set up here. The bad news is, because they're going to a large town, that means they automatically get a travel hazard and have the potential to get an additional travel hazard. So red will be the Marshal, white will be the Saloon Girl, and on a 1, 2, or 3, they actually get an additional travel hazard. The red's the Marshal, so he gets an additional travel hazard. He gets 2. So we'll go ahead and just do him. No, let's do the Saloon Girl first. So red are the 10s, white are the 1s. So a 22. Blighted Desert. The desert is dry and unforgiving. As you come across the first watering hole for miles, the area around it is littered with the bones of the dead. That is not a good sign. Each hero loses 1 grit. If you do not have a grit to lose, instead take D3 wounds. Okay, well they each had a grit because they just came out of their adventure. Well, I guess that's not terrible. Could have been worse. Alright, so now the U.S. Marshals. First one is a 46. Wrecked train. The twisted hulk of a wrecked train fills the valley below, mangled and half buried in rubble and debris. It must have jumped the track or been forced off. Looks like it's been there a while. Each hero can decide to pass it without giving it a second thought, or to climb down into the wreckage and look for something useful. If they search, they make a Cunning 5 test. If they fail, you're exhausted, and you discard any grit you have. Well, the Marshal just lost his only grit. If passed, you roll a d6 to see what you find. So I guess the Marshal will go. We'll do this. He has a Cunning of 4. So we will do... He's going to climb down and see what he can see, what he can find. So it is a Cunning 5 test. Well, he passes, so on a d6 it tells us what we found. A 1. No accident. The train was destroyed by the conductor in an effort to stop the evil that came aboard. An evil that you just released. Roll once on the madness table. Really? Oh, great. And he doesn't have a grit to re-roll that, so let me roll once on the madness table. Alright, so let's see how he does. What happens? An 11. Get a grip. You shake it off. You're fine. Everything's fine, right? There is no long-lasting effect, and this madness is immediately removed. Oh, thank goodness. Alright, so now for his next travel hazard is a 35. Ruined Fort. You come across the smoking ruins of a military fort. They are finding all kinds of destroyed stuff here. It looks as though it was besieged and overrun sometime in the last few days. Your heart sinks. Each hero loses a grit. If you do not have any grit to lose, instead take D3 sanity damage, ignoring willpower, that will carry over to the next adventure. Okay, so they each lost their grit. So I guess D3 sanity damage. Red is the Marshal, white is the Saloon Girl. Alright, so D3 damage, which is a little frustrating because the Saloon Girl had 3 grit at the end, but when you reset to 1, oh well. D3 sanity. Okay, so the Marshal takes 1 sanity and the Saloon Girl takes 2. Okay, and they carry over. Alright, so that is the end of the travel hazards. Now we need to set up the large town map. And this is a medium frontier town, so hold on. And that's a small frontier town. And here is the large town. So actually, the next step is to figure out what kind of town it is, and then I'll set the town up, because that does... It is an 8. Standard frontier town. Well, maybe that's not too bad given their history. Okay, so we'll do the random hopefully we get the things we need to get some of these wounds and other things taken care of. So we have a general store, a frontier outpost, a gambling hall, sheriff's office, a street market, blacksmith, church, and a smuggler's den. No doctor's office. Oh man. Okay. Well, they of course will start in the hotel, but let's do their daily event. Supplies are running short. Everyone is a little spooked, trying to gear up before the next wave of demonic attacks hit. All prices in town today are plus $10. So unfortunately, I guess that means our hotel stay is actually $20. So we will take $20 each. Now, the first things first, I know the Saloon Girl has a couple things she wants to sell. She has no interest in keeping this dark stone blade. So that's $475. So she's up $455 so far. And does she want to keep this dark Mark of the Void? You know, it's only $200. She might want to hang on to that. She didn't use any of her amulets or anything last go round. And then I don't think, well, this Juju wand that she also has, you have to have a Spirit 4 to use it. She doesn't, so she's going to sell this for $850 as well. I think both of these are Swamp's artifacts. So another $850 gold. She sold all that. She's going to comp the sheriff his room. Alright, so now they need to decide where they want to go. So, since there's nowhere you can heal a mutation, the Saloon Girl does have a lot of corruption. So she's going to go to the church. And, you know, the Marshal wants to go a couple different places. He wants to go to the sheriff's office and he wants to go to the frontier outpost to sell some darkstone. So we'll go to the frontier outpost first. So we will roll for the church, for the Saloon Girl, see what happens. A 7. No event. And because it's a regular old frontier, you don't do any special things. Now for the Marshal, who went to the frontier outpost, $7 as well. Trading post. A local prospector has returned from the mines with a strange artifact and he's willing to part with it for a price. Draw a world card to determine where it came from, then draw an artifact from that world. It may be purchased for D times 150. Alright, let's see what world we come up with. The canyons. You know, before I even go anywhere, let's see how much it's going to cost. Oh, it's only going to cost 150. So let me go pull the canyons artifacts. Alright, so canyons artifacts. For 150 he can buy a 12th Cavalry jacket. Ooh, +2 move, armor 6+, and once per adventure recover a grit. Yeah, he's definitely going to buy that for 150. So yeah, just as an update, he actually has 3,835 gold. Our Saloon Girl had 2120, but she's added another 1,000 or so. She's only 75 experience points from her next level, but the Marshal still needs 365. But he's definitely going to buy that 12th Cavalry jacket for 150 gold. I will write that down. He is not wearing a jacket, so that will be very worthwhile. That's another +2 move, so that actually gives him +5 movement, which you can't have +5, I don't believe. I'll have to go look up what the most you can have, but it does help make up for that slashed leg, which there's no way to heal a mutation and there's no way to heal any injuries here. So they're going to have to continue on with their injuries. Alright, so I guess we will start with the Marshal. And I mean, really all he's going to do here is he wants to sell some Darkstone. He has, I think, 8, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we're going to start off, he's going to sell 4 of them. And it's a D6 times 25 each. He may not get a lot for them, but well, okay. So he's got 6, 12, 13, 14. So that's a total of 250 for the first 10 and another 100 for the next 4, so 350 gold for him. So, and he'll keep his, does he keep his other 4? That's a lot of Darkstone to be running around with. You know what, he's going to sell 2 more. Not for much, so another 175. Might be better off going to the place where you can do it on 20 times the P dice, because at least you're guaranteed to at least get a 3. But regardless, he's got 2 Darkstone. Maybe he won't take another mutation this next go around. And I don't think there's really anything he wants to buy here. He really wants to get a good shotgun at the sheriff's office. So that's really all he's going to do here, except he's going to look for the bounty and see what kind of bounty there is. May not be any good, but 5 night terrors. So 150 for each night terror that's been killed. So let me write that down real quick. With as many night terrors as I've been drawing, that might not be too bad. And is there anything else he wants? He's got swamp fungus and bandages. Nope, nothing he wants to buy here. Alright, so Saloon Girl. She's at the church, and the first thing she wants to do is banish corruption. So she's going to take 100 away. And let's see what happens. So she wants to banish corruption. So 4. So she gets 2 corruption taken away. She is going to do it again. She's going to spend another 100. This will be 6. All right, so 4 more sanity gone, which takes her to 0. All right, that was 200 gold well spent. Really, she has nothing else here. She's got a dynamite and a tonic. That's everything she wants to do there, so that's the end of the day. Let's roll to see on day 1. No event. So they're going to go back to the saloon, pull the next daily event, because they are staying one more day. It's just another day on the frontier of the Wild West. Death and adventure around every corner. No effect, and we're not in a specialty town, so that's okay. Alright, so they'll each pay their 10 gold this go round. The sheriff will cover this time. The sheriff is going to the sheriff's office, and the saloon girl, smuggler's den she might want, or the street market. Oh, the smuggler's den, you can actually, they have the back alley dock. Injury or mutation. So, I mean, her injury really doesn't matter too much because she's not using a two-handed weapon, and even if she does, it just means she can't get critical. So, I don't think she's going to do that. But I think the lawman, he will go there next, so he's going to stay an extra turn. So let's see, what might she want at the street market? Spice, exotic herbs, potion. There's nowhere else she really wants to go. Well, unless maybe there's something good at the general store. Whiskey, bandages, and dynamite. She's already got a holdout pistol. I think she's going to go to the general store. Alright, so daily events for the general store. 8. Fire sale. The shelves are fully stocked, but it's practically a ghost town. All prices are reduced by 50 to a minimum of 25. Wow. Okay, good call there. Because she was going to buy some stuff anyway. And now the sheriff, or the lawman, is going to the sheriff's office. His event is a 3. That ain't going to be good. Corrupt sheriff. The local sheriff has gone mad with power. Every law hero at the sheriff's office must immediately flee town or challenge the corrupt sheriff's authority. To challenge him, take a Spirit 5 test. We have Spirit 2. If successful, he is defeated and runs for the hills. If failed, he draws on you and guns you down. Roll on the injury chart. If the corrupt sheriff is not defeated by any law hero, all heroes in town are considered wanted. Well, it's a Spirit 5. You know, he's going to have to challenge him because I really need to stay in town to get this mutation healed. So, alright, we're going to try this. And he fails. Criminy. Alright, so he rolls on the injury chart. So, well, he challenged, so he doesn't have to flee. He's just dead. Alright, so rolling on the injury chart. A 9. Broken collarbone. -1 max grit. Alright, so his max grit is now down to 3. But at least he doesn't have to flee. He's going to do the sheriff's bounty. So he'll draw a low threat card. Coffin breakers. So any coffin breakers, what do they get for that anyway? They get money. So he's going to do the bounty, and then he is going to buy. He's going to buy the Punisher, which is a $3,000 shotgun. But it gives him 2 shots. It's basically the same thing he has now, but he has 2 shots instead of 1 shot. And the range is 6. So he'll buy the Punisher, and that takes him down to about 1,000 in gold. But he's got a broken collarbone now to add to his troubles. And now they're wanted. So let's see what happens when you're wanted. So at the end of each day in town, roll a number of dice equal to your hero level. For each roll of 6, you are recognized. Gain 10 experience points, and then choose to either pay $50 or flee town. Great. Okay, so, well, it is the end of the day. I do want him to stay one more day. He's got to go try and at least get some of this stuff taken off of him. Well, actually, his injuries aren't that bad. -1 grit and -1 move aren't really going to affect him too much. And she really has nothing else she wants to do. So maybe we should just flee. Though I'd like to... That mutation is kind of... That's kind of a rough mutation. But it's only for 11 and 12, so... You know what? I think instead of going back, they're just going to flee and go on their next adventure. And one thing I didn't do right at the end was I forgot to roll for a last event. And of course it happened, so let me put it all back together and see what that town event is. So, rolling for a regular frontier town, it is a 9. Intense dread, a dark cloud on the horizon makes your soul sink as you see a void twister in the distance wipe through a neighboring town. Each hero makes a Cunning 6 test. If successful, you get some experience. If failed, take sanity damage, ignoring willpower. And if no hero passes this test, also add a growing dread card to the stack at the next adventure. Okay, so Saloon Girl has a cunning of 3, so a cunning 6 test. She fails, so she takes d6 plus 3 sanity. 4, she takes 7 sanity. This is not a good sign. You know what else I realized is I've never actually played her. I never played her bit at the general store where she was getting 25 off, so I'll go back and do that as well. Alright, so his cunning test, he has a cunning of 4, and he doesn't pass either, so he takes 6 sanity. Boy, they're not starting. This has been a terrible town state. Maybe I don't want to go to big towns anymore. Yep, and all she was going to do at the general store was just buy some, some whiskey and some bandages. So she'll just do a bandage and a bandage and 2 whiskeys. So that's 75 gold from her. And now we can get on with the day. So bandage and 2 whiskeys. So now they need to figure out, holy smokes, they left and they're like, what in the heck did we do? That was terrible. So they got to figure out what they're going to do next, but they know they just want to get away from here as soon as possible. So a 10. So, oh man, so a 10 takes us back to the Swamps of Death. They just cannot seem to get away from the Swamps of Death. So the question is, are they doing a Swamps of Death mission, or are they going to do a mission pack, enemy pack, that sort of thing? Let's see. Oh, they are doing a mission or an enemy. Alright, so I have painted up a few more things since the last time I did this. I'm not going to put the Serpent Men in there, and I'm not going to put things that are clearly not swamps, like, the Succubi, a Cinder mission or Derelict Ship mission. But what I do have painted that I can work into this are werewolves, vampires, the Black Fang tribe, since we're starting in mines, the Flesh Stalkers. I've painted up Belial, the Burrower, the Sandkraken, and the Void Sorcerers. So I'm just going to go down that same list on a D8 to see which one they end up in. And it's a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the Burrower. So we will do a Burrower mission. They're sitting in the saloon before they leave, before anybody recognizes them because of their being wanted, because of the lawman gone rogue. They heard from multiple prospectors about a new mine rich in darkstone appearing up in the hills. No one had bothered to ask where it came from, all the greedy fools, but it soon became clear anyone that went into that mine never came back out. And then the earthquake started. One of the prospectors says, "I'm telling you, that's no cave. There's something inside that mountain, and it's eating the world from the inside out." So this is no cave mission. Clear what's causing the cave. So this just uses regular mine missions. They have to search the cave to find the lair of the Burrower and defeat it. The special rule is rumbling from below. Whenever an exploration token that does not have a clue icon on it is drawn, you get Mine Depth Event 4, Falling Rubble, even while in another world. Once you discover a clue icon, you roll a dice to see if you found the Burrower or not. If you don't, you get a Growing Dread card and then have to keep going. If you do find it on a 7 or higher on that roll, then you found it. And basically all you do is you attack it, you fight it, and if you kill it, you get gold, and if you don't, well, all the local towns are destroyed and you must proceed directly to the next adventure. Somehow I feel that's probably what's going to happen to the Marshal and the Saloon Girl. But anyway, Coming up, they're going into the mines from the Swamps of Death set, and then they're going to go in search of the Burrower. Okay, so I have the mission set up. Unfortunately, they could not heal anything on this last go-round, nor could they really sell much. Saloon Girl couldn't get rid of her soul parasite. The Marshal now has a broken clavicle, as well as a slashed leg, so he's -1 movement, but he's also +5 movement, so really he's +4 movement. I can't find anything in the rules that talks about movement maxes, like there are for grit and there are for attributes, but he's now -1 grit because of his collarbone. They've got a lot of stuff which I will try and keep up to date with. He got a new shotgun which actually has 2 shots. Otherwise it's really the same, but it's 2 shots. He paid 3,000 gold for it. But why is he doing all this going through the mines if he's not going to take advantage of it? So they are trying to find out what is causing the earthquakes and what is causing all the rumbling and why nobody has come out of this cave. I've set it up with lots of extra stuff from the supplements, so maybe we'll see some new darkness cards, some new growing dread cards. I put several new monsters in there. And then of course at the end we have to see the Burrower. So with all that said, first thing of course is to try and hold back the darkness. And they do. So Saloon Girl can move 5 with her +1 is she actually gets to move 6. And she is going to look through the door, take her 5 experience. We will draw a storage room, dusty crates. I have seen this one before, but we will put an exploration token on it. And see if the Marshal can keep up with her. Part of this is you randomly pull out 3 exploration tokens that don't have clues, so that you have a total of 9 exploration tokens. So I did do that and then shuffled them back up. Now this is not one where I have to roll to see if it's something else, so we do get the dusty crate. We will get the dusty crate encounter. And now it's time for the Marshal to move. 5 -1 +5. He's coming to right here with her. That's the end of the turn. We'll flip the exploration token. 3 doors, of which there are 3. There is an encounter, which will be the dusty crates, and a clue icon. So first thing you have to do, because there's a clue icon, is see whether you have found the Burrower. That would be pretty interesting. And the way that works is you roll on the peril die and add +1 for each clue. So we basically get the peril die +1, and if it's a 7 or higher, so really if I roll a 6, we found him. If I roll less than that, we add a growing dread card to the stack. And a 6, oh my goodness. Alright, so we have found the Burrower's lair. When the Burrower's lair objective room is found, ignore any attacks or encounters. Also ignore any doors or gates. Reveal all growing dread cards. Okay. And then they must face the Burrower as an epic threat. Once the Burrower has been defeated and there are no other enemies on the board, the mission is successfully completed. So here's the Burrower, and it is a massive model. So it's basically blocking out the hero, or heroes. It takes up 3 by 3 square spaces, and this isn't a real big tile, so basically it's taking up most of the tile. I've never played against the Burrower before, and this is going to be pretty interesting. So they have writhing form, so when you're placed, they also add a perils dice worth of tentacles to the fight. Okay, so a peril dice worth of tentacles. 3 tentacles. and they start in ambush. I'll do that here in a second. 3 tentacles. Put that here so I remember. Get that out of the way. And every time there are fewer tentacles than there are heroes, you roll to see if you add more tentacles to the fight. They do not get elite abilities, however, but since we're level 3, the Burrower gets an elite ability. Endurance 5, they can't take more than 5 wounds from any single hit. They have Terror of 3. Flailing Mouth Tentacles. Heroes do not need to make escape tests to move away from the Burrower. Instead, whenever they're within 2 spaces of the Burrower, either at the start of their activation or if they move into that space, they must make an escape test against the escape value, and if failed, the hero takes d6 hits, and the escape value is a 3. And then the way the combat and damage and move goes is you roll 2d6 at the start of its activation, and then we'll just go over what it does, but there's some really bad stuff. So select a random hero and they have to take a Cunning 5 test or take a bunch of wounds. It may go back into the ground and do stuff. It may regenerate wounds. Everybody could take d6 plus 3 hits. Or they could all take d6 hits for each tentacle and Burrower within 2 spaces of them. And Grinding Jaws, so can do really bad stuff if you don't pass an agility test. Its defense is 2, and its health is 20 plus 15 per hero, so his health is 50. Wow. And he gets 1 elite ability, so that would be a 5, which is Void Mucus. All hits done by a result on the World Eater chart are +1 damage. Yay. Okay. Elite ability of 5. Put his card down here. I will do my best. I'm going to pull a little away so I can actually have dice that people might be able to see. Let me get some tentacles. And I had pulled the tentacles away, I pulled the cave entrance away just for the sake of space. So that 1 tentacle is, it's there in ambush. And so, well, one of the first things I have to do after getting their card out is 1, 2, 3, the extra tentacle is on the Saloon Girl. 4, 5, 6, it's on the Marshal. So he's attacking the Marshal. And so here are the tentacles. You know, I'm actually really sick of fighting tentacles. They are a pain to deal with. But they're in ambush, so they are initiative 4, which is less than the Saloon Girl, but equal to the Marshal. Saloon Girl actually gets to go first. Now, do I hold back the darkness? Let me see. That was from an encounter, so yes, I guess I have to. That was the end of the turn. I guess expiration tokens don't matter anymore. So, hold back the darkness, and they do. But it's an 11, so now I've got to look up on the mutation chart what that means for the Marshal. Chest portal. On 11 or 12, I have to roll on a d6. Whoop, we went 1 room. A 3. On a 1, 2, or 3, there is an ambush attack as a low threat card erupts from the portal in your chest. These enemies are placed adjacent to you if possible, but will select targets during their first activation. Alright, so let's see what we get. Oh, an Ancient Horror, which actually this, at least thematically, goes with it. But so now let's add an Ancient Horror to the mix, in ambush. And it's in ambush, so it would be behind, so I guess I need to move things around. It kind of breaks the theme, not having that. Okay. Here is the back half of the cave entrance. Now here's a question. Since it is too wide, can it actually get to us? I don't know. So the Ancient Horrors are an extra large enemy, so they can actually push that little tentacle out of the way when the time comes. It's Initiative 2. Also Initiative 4, because it's ambushing right now. So it's Terror 1. It has the same smash as the tentacles have. Rolls a 3 combat attacks against every hero within 3 spaces, so it actually gets to attack everybody. And this enemy does not move normally. Instead, at the start of its activation on a D6, on a roll of 4, it is immediately repositioned as for an ambush attack. So, well, it's already ambushing, so it's no big deal. So, we will ride with that one as well. And you know what? I think that our trusty Saloon Girl is going to have to burn her 2 Darkstone and attach this Mark of the Void to her trusty axe. I just don't think she's got any choice, because we got all these Void enemies around. And she gets to go first. So she's going to roll. Alright, she's going to roll the hit. She doesn't, but she gets to reroll 1, and she still doesn't. So she's going to use, no, she's not using her holdout pistol yet. Alright, so now it is time for, who goes first? A 1, 2, 3, it's the tentacles. 4, 5, 6, it's the Ancient Horrors. So it is the Ancient Horror. So the Ancient Horror moves, pushes this one out of the way, and it gets to attack 3 attacks on the Saloon Girl and the Marshal. Now the question is, it's a tentacle-like thing, so does it get an elite ability? Tentacles do not get elite ability, so I guess it would. So its elite ability is Biting Suckers. Ancient Horror combat hits are now +2 damage. Golly, can I not win anything? Alright, so 3 hits, 3 attacks on each, or 3 attacks on each. 2 on the Saloon Girl, 1 on the Marshal. Let's see if they can defend them. And they defend them all. Alright, so now the Marshal gets to go. Well, no, I'm sorry. The tentacles get to go this time. So they have 3 attacks each, so there's going to be 3 on the Marshal and 3 on the Saloon Girl. Again, 2 hits on the Saloon Girl and 1 on the Marshal. Oh, and the Saloon Girl fails 1, so she takes 3 damage. And now it's the Marshal's turn. So he gets 2 critical hits. The Ancient Horror has a health of 18. But if it kills the 2 tentacles, then you start rolling to see if you get more tentacles coming on board. Oh, but I don't have enough to kill the Ancient Horror. But I think I still need to go after the Ancient Horror. Although he does get, if he kills a tentacle, he gets an extra shot. Nope, I think he's going to go on the Ancient Horror. And he does 11 damage. So that gives him 10, 65, 75 because of the elite ability experience, which is enough for him to level up. So if he's getting ready to die, I guess I can do that. And now it is, oh, I forgot to roll to move. For Saloon Girl to move, nope. U.S. Marshal to move, oh, he gets a grit. That's good. And I have to do horror hits, so I've got 3 horror hits each from the Burrower and 1 from the Ancient Horrors. So let's see if we can defend. So the Marshal, he takes 2 sanity damage. And the Saloon Girl takes 3 sanity damage. Okay, and now it is the Burrower's turn. They're not within 2 spaces yet, so they don't have to do that. So we got to roll 2d6 and see what he does. An 11. Grinding Jaws. Select a random hero within 12 spaces. All heroes in the Burrower's arc facing that hero up to 12 spaces away, even through walls, must pass an agility 5 test or take 12 hits. So I think they're all in the Burrower's arc facing that hero. So I don't need to roll that because they're in the same place. So they must do an agility 5 test. Alright, so the Saloon Girl is agility 4. She fails. Oh no. And she does not have a grit at this point. So 12 hits that do 2 damage each. Alright, so let's see. Let's see how many she can save. Alright, she saves, so she takes 6 damage, 6 wounds, so you know what? She's just going to take it. So she's still got, ooh, not 10 wounds, 6 wounds. Alright, so she's okay for right this red hot second. And now an agility test for the Marshal, who, comforting presence time 2, I forgot. He hasn't taken any wounds, so that's not a big deal. But his agility is 5. So let's see if he can take... He passes. Alright, so he doesn't... Nope, no, nothing horrible there. Okay. So now, it is time... Make sure I didn't... So it was the end of this turn. I've got nothing else exciting for the ends of the turn. Time to hold back the darkness. And they do, and he doesn't have any more things burst out of his chest. And I forgot to stick those on there. And now it is the Saloon Girl's turn. She rolls to move. No grit. She is going to attack. 1 hit, gets to reroll the other. So a critical and a regular. 18, there's 11. So she's going to put the critical hit on the Ancient Horror to start with. So that's 3 plus 1, because it's a void enemy, is 4, 5, 6 total damage. Which gives her 10, 40, 45 experience. And takes it down to, oh man, that's 17 wounds. So she's just going to put the other one on it as well. And kills the horror, gives it the 1 last wound, which gives her another 5 experience. But she can heal 2 wounds because she killed something. Go Saloon Girl. Alright, now it is the Marshal's turn. And I am... okay. Marshal goes, he rolls. He gets to... Does he get to re-roll one of those? I don't think he gets to re-roll. So it's once per turn you can re-roll a damage roll. But it's a critical, and you know what? Okay. Ooh. Does he take out... nope, he's going to put it on the Burrower. And he does 6 damage, but you can only do 5 per attack. So, all hits done by the World Eater plus... So she actually took 3 more, would have taken 3 more damage. I'll get that in a second. So he takes 10, he gives 10, 20, 35. Nope, plus another 5 because of the elite ability. She healed 2 wounds, that would have been 9, 10, 11, 12 because of the extra. Well, each hit would have done the 2, so it should have done 3, that would have been additional, so that really would have been enough to kill her. But what I would have done was use... Okay, I apologize, battery on my camera died. So basically what I was saying was that I forgot about the Burrower's elite ability, which gives them +1 damage to the results on the World Eater chart. So he would have actually done 9 damage, which would have been enough to take the Saloon Girl to her max health. However, I would have used the cigar to block all the damage, which would have left her at 3 wounds. And then after she killed the tentacle, she would have healed 2, so she's at 1 wound. So that's where we stand with that. And the Marshal took his 35/40 experience for doing 5 wounds on the Ancient Horror. And now that leaves it to the Tentacles' turn, because they're next. So this one would come forward. 1, 2, 3, it's the Saloon Girl. 4, 5, 6, it's the Marshal. It's the Saloon Girl, of course. So 3 attacks each. So 6 on the Saloon Girl, 3 on the Marshal. See if we can survive another round. Oh, so these don't hit. That doesn't hit. So the Marshal takes an automatic 3 damage. Saloon Girl takes an automatic 3, and then they each have to save 1. So, and they save them. So they each take 3 wounds. And at the end of that turn, Comforting Presence, for which she gets 10 experience, which I keep forgetting to do. And now it would be the Burrower's turn. And so I have to roll. He is not within the 2 spaces because the guys are in the way. He actually can't get around. He can't actually fit. That's an interesting thing because of this hole, and there's not 3 spaces either way. He is stuck here. I forgot to do their terror when they started their turn, so they each need to take 3. Actually 4 because the horror was still around. So, and Saloon Girl takes, they each take 2 sanity damage. And now the Burrower rolls on the World Eater chart. A 5. Burrower. The Burrower retracts back into the ground. Remove the model from the board. And place the Burrower back on the board, centered on that hero's space. The Burrower retracts by the ground. Remove the model. At the start of its next activation, instead of rolling on this chart, roll a random hero, place the Burrower back on the board, centered on that hero's space. Any models covered by the Burrower are immediately moved to any space adjacent to it. and heroes moved take d6 hits that do 3 damage each. Now I don't know how I'm going to do that because he can't fit where they are. I'll have to just figure that out when the time comes, I guess. Alright, so that means it's time to hold back the darkness, which they do not, but nothing bursting from a chest. And now it would be the Saloon Girl's turn. She can move. She doesn't get a grit. She will attack. That is 2 hits. So first hit on this Burrower behind her. That's a 5. Not Burrower, sorry. Tentacle. Defense of 2, that's a 3, plus her 1 for voids, gives her the 4, plus her others, so she kills this one. I don't like this. I'm going to end up with more of these guys. But she does get 30 experience. That does allow her to heal 2 wounds. And then she will put her damage on this one. That's 3 damage. She gets her +1 because it's a void. +1 for her axe, +1 for her dirty fighting. Gives it a 6, which is enough to kill that one. So another 30 experience. Now it is the Marshal's turn. 2 critical hits. First one, 3, enough to kill this one. There's nothing else he can do, but he can heal a wound and a sanity and gets 40. Actually, he's going to heal 2 sanity. No, a wound and a sanity. And he gets 40 experience points. And that's the end of the turn because the Burrower is hanging out and going to whack these guys. So Comforting Presence. And now time to hold back the darkness again. They do not. That means a darkness card. Ambush attack by 2p3 of Hungry Dead. 2p3, 2 peril dice of Hungry Dead. Yeah. 9 Hungry Dead. So despite the fact that we found the Burrower right off the bat, this is turning into a really long game, so I think it's a good time to take a break here, and I will return after we put out all of those Hungry Dead.